Hey guys, so here's a quick update on that commission. Right now we're working on the Green Lion. Now, right now I've just test fitted the parts because while this is a very nice kit and it's nice that the parts go on snugly, when you're moving parts, it can cause an issue. It could cause paint to scrape, right? So for example, on the elbow here, we have this part of the joint right here. Now, right here and right here, you can see where the parts connect, right? But the issue is when you move that part of the joint, it will scrape. Okay? So that's why, oof, this does not want to focus for me. Oh, come on now. Come on. Okay. Oh, dude. Man, this is not. Jeez. See if I can. Okay. You can see how right here and right here, that's where that joint is. When you move it, those parts will scrape. You can see I've already removed some, but we want to make sure that doesn't rub the paint off, right? Now, this kit's really nice. It's got a lot of posability because this is going to be the arm, one of the arms. Now, you'll also notice on the bottom of the feet here and on the inside there, you have these nasty holes, right? Now, the ones higher up on this higher part of the leg, I'm not going to do those because my concern is no matter what, it will scrape. Now, granted, this probably won't have the legs move, but still, that's a really tight fit. And adding extra putty there really isn't going to do much for this. However, here's the other leg. Here's where I applied the putty, waiting for it to dry. The putty I use, or that I'm using for this, is this stuff right here, which it's nice and thin. If I can get it to focus. Come on. It's nice and thin. And you can water it down, which is nice. But because of that, it does take many coats. And you can kind of see here where I put it on pretty thick so I can get a little bit, because it'll sink in and it'll shrink. And so then you have to apply coat after coat after coat. So I'm doing it nice and thick the first time because it'll settle in, and then I can sand it down. And then we have a paw right here with the same, with the same thing. You see, I filled up that hole because we want that to look nice and good and solid. We want it to look like a high-end statue, not like, a cheap kid's toy. We want it to look like a real collectible. And this is the neck piece that's going to go on between the head and the body. Now, as you can see, these aren't fully closed up in there because, like I said, I'm going to be separating it for paint. But it is a very nice kit. Of course, the mouth opens and closes, and the weapon goes in there, the blade. And yeah, we've got some nice posability. Here's another example of why we don't want to have that paint scrape, right? Because you can lock that in. Also, you can lock in the head. We're not going to do it right now because the pieces are just on there loosely, but again, see? We want that to be easy to work with, and when you bend that elbow here, like I said, we don't want that paint to scrape off. Because while I'm sure it won't be transformed, it'd be nice for the client to be able to pose it, the way it's meant to be, So, yeah. But that's where we're at the moment. I do have these other pieces here too. Those will just be, straight up paint. That's going to go here, obviously. This part flips up. The tail's got to go in here as well. And I'm assuming this here is the joint, the shoulder joint. Because when it's in that transformation mode, those legs are going to close up like so. Now, I already have some plans for what I want to do for the weathering and battle damage on this guy, because this is the arm right here. You can kind of see what I'm getting at. Now, I'm going to do some weathering, just some paint chipping and things like that, but I'm also going to do heavy battle damage. Now, I've done this before. This is one of the few things I'm going to spoil just to get the client excited, because this is going to be a lot of fun. Basically, the way I'll do this is I'll draw out a chunk. It probably won't be on this particular arm, but I'll draw out a chunk that I want removed, take a pin vise and drill that out, and then I've got this stuff right here. So basically, this is going to go on the inside of some of those torn up parts. I'm trying to separate it for you so you can get a better look. That's going to be go inside that part that I drill out, that chunk that'll be missing. It'll have the metal mesh underneath. And of course, I'm not going to leave it bright and shiny like this. I'm going to have that weathered as well. But I have a lot of plans for this, and so yeah, it's going to look good. I have chosen, let me grab it, some more subdued, darker colors. Where'd you go? So for example, this probably looks a lot darker in person. So this looks way too dark, but in person it's not. This is going to be the green I'm going with, racing green. It's going to be a lot more subdued. It's not going to be bright and colorful, but it's going to look like a better green, a more realistic green. Because just like with Gundams, it's basically a war machine. You don't want it in the show. It's bright and colorful, yes, for the cartoon. But if you take it as what the characters and what the machines are in universe, they're war machines. They're weapons. So you don't. If you're in the military, for example, right? And you're in the forest and you're trying to blend in, right? Camouflage. If you're bright and colorful, every enemy is going to see you. And while, yeah, Voltron's flashy because it's the ultimate, it's very powerful and it's known. Everyone knows what Voltron is. But we still want it to look more like a weapon and less like a colorful toy. We want it to look more realistic. Kind of like how with Gundam, the colors were darker. They weren't so colorful, but they made them more colorful to sell toys. They told the artist, no, you can't do it this way because that doesn't sell toys. But when you look at it in universe, it's a war machine, right? It's a weapon, like a tank or a plane. So you want it to look like that. You don't want it to look like, cartoony. You want it to look realistic. You want it to look like something, if it were doable in the real world, that's what they would do. They wouldn't make it bright and colorful, They would make it more subdued, more serious looking. And so that's the game plan. So yeah, and a lot more other surprises in store for sure. I am going to damage up a couple of the faces, maybe damage one of the teeth, like it's slightly broken off, but do it in a way where around where the part is broken off, I want you to see more of the cracks in the metal than just a piece cut off. It's going to be more than a piece cut off. It's going to have those cracks in it. That's the goal. But yeah, so that's where we're at so far. And yeah, this is going to look great. All right. Bye-bye.